Good day, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me for the first ever latte webinar, or is it late? The pronunciation on that is still up for debate for me. But it is an honor to be here and to be with you for the first ever latte webinar. Maybe a generation ago, people will have asked, where were you for the first moon landing? And maybe in 50 years' time, they'll ask, where were you for the first ever latte webinar? So you can say that you were here. So thank you very much for joining me. It really is great to be here. So we're talking today about pronunciation. Now, pronunciation is such a wide topic, but we're going to be focusing on three things: individual sounds, word stress, and sentence stress. And there are a huge variety of activities and ways that you can teach it in the classroom, not just drilling. I haven't got a big problem with drilling. I'm not an anti-driller, but drilling is very limited. And I'm going to make two very, very clear points: that you should teach pronunciation physically and you should teach it visually. So all of the information that I'm going to talk to you about today will be from two posts on my blog, and I will give you the blog website at the end of the talk, so you will have to listen for the whole thing. So pronunciation is often called the Cinderella of ELT. This is a quote by Adrian Underhill. He calls it the Cinderella of ELT. And you can guess who this is. This is grammar, one of the ugly sisters, and this is vocabulary, the other ugly sister. And you can understand the metaphor. The Cinderella never gets invited anywhere. She gets left at home. She gets forgotten, as pronunciation often does. It gets missed out of the classes. There just isn't time for it. And our ugly sisters, grammar and vocabulary, take all of the attention. So we need to change that. Pronunciation is in everything we do. It's obviously in speaking, because if you can't pronounce things, then you can't be intelligible. It's also in listening, because if you can't hear things and how they're pronounced, then it will be very difficult for you to understand what's being said. And then it's in reading as well, because when we read something, we say it in the voice in our heads, and that's pronouncing the words a certain way. And then with writing, you write something and you read it back to yourself. So even when you're doing a writing exercise, there is some pronunciation involved, even though it's in the inner voice in the head. So what affects intelligibility? Well, this is the Lingua Franca Core by Jennifer Jenkins. So intelligibility is how well you can be understood, or how well your basic message can be understood by the listener. And so we're going to be dealing with things like consonants when we talk about individual sounds, vowel length when we talk about individual sounds, word stress, which is the second section of the talk, and then, well, this is also involved in word stress and sentence stress, the short and the weak forms. And then stress timing and nuclear stress when we talk about sentence stress. So we are going to cover a large variety of things in quite a short time. So I would encourage you to look into it more. Again, go on my blog, for example, and have a look at the posts to do with this. But we are going to sort of flash through this quite quickly and cover a lot of themes. So we're going to start with phonemes, individual sounds. And as I said before, you should be teaching these physically with the phonemic chart. The phonemic chart is this old friend that I'm sure you've seen before. It looks like something from Middle Earth. And it's organized in a way that's not immediately obvious. So it's organized due to its physicality, so due to the sound's physical characteristics and how we move 4 buttons of pronunciation. And these buttons of pronunciation are the following. So we have the tongue position, the lip shape, the jaw, and the voice, the larynx. Is it on or off? So the tongue position can be up, down, left, right. You know, if you wiggle your tongue around in your mouth now, blah, 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 you can feel how many different positions and how many shapes it can curl up. You can go forward, back, left, right, and this is used to produce many different sounds. The lip shape, you can have wide lips like an ah or an ooh, you can close them up together, you can spread them like an e, so you can do many different things and they produce different sounds. The jaw, we'll see it later on, but how open or closed it is affects the sounds that we make. And then the larynx, like are we turning it on or off, or is it an S or a Z? So we'll see how we can teach this physically later on. Proprioception is the term. It's can you feel what's going on inside your body, or can you feel what your body is doing, and can you master it? So pronunciation is often taught as a cognitive activity inside the brain, but it should be 10 centimeters lower down, and it should be all physical. We should be doing these things and getting the students to do these things in order to improve them. So we'll start with the vowel sounds, which is the top left-hand corner of the phonemic chart. And we'll start with E, oo. So we have the tongue forward, E, and the tongue back, oo.